the active system, also known as Optima Solutions. In this training video, you will learn how to start the active system, how to input your facility room numbers, how to admit residents, how to transfer residents to other rooms, and how to discharge and restore residents from the reserve file. Currently on your screen, you have a sample desktop with 3 icons in the center. The mouse cursor is now moving to the active system icon, and now it's moving to the Optima Solutions icon. Either icon can be used to access the active system. The mouse cursor is now moving to the scan icon, which is a medical record scanning program, an advanced feature that you can learn about in other training videos. Now let's move the mouse cursor down to the taskbar, which is at the bottom of your screen, and it goes all the way across the bottom of your screen. And if you right click, not left click, usually you use your left mouse button to click things, but this time we're going to use the right mouse button to right click a blank spot on the taskbar, and a special menu comes up called the which allows you to load the Task Manager. If you click Task Manager, it opens up in the center of your screen, and make sure that Applications tab is selected, and you will have a listing of all the applications that are running on your computer. This is a useful area to get to so that you can click an application and then click End Task to close that application without rebooting your computer. Now let's go to the X in the upper right hand corner and click the X to close the Task Manager, and let's move the mouse cursor back down to the taskbar and go to the far left to the Start button, and right click the Start button and give us another special menu which has an option on it called Explore. If you click Explore, you get the Windows Explorer on the screen, which is a useful tool for viewing and finding files and folders that are on your computer. Now let's go up to the X in the upper right hand corner of the Windows Explorer and click it to close the Windows Explorer, and we're back to the desktop. Now let's go into the active system. We do that by double clicking the active system icon, which means clicking the left button of your mouse twice very quickly. And we have the active system loaded onto the computer. You'll notice that it did not ask you for a password, and that is because the password function was disabled at the beginning of the day so that we would not have to keep entering the password each time we go into the active system. If you want to reinstate the password feature, you right-click the Exit button to exit the active system. Okay, now when you go back into the active system, you will notice that a password is asked for, and you type in the password that the active system staff has given you. And if you hit Enter, the system will continue to ask you for a password throughout the day. If you hit Control Enter, which means you hold down your Control key, which is the CTRL key in the lower left-hand corner of your keyboard, if you hold that down, and while holding it down hit Enter, then that will disable the password function for the rest of the day, and you will not be asked for a password until the following day. To reinstate that, remember, you right-click the X button as you exit, and it's recommended that you reinstate that if you are going to leave your computer unattended for any length of time. Okay, now we're on the roster, and this is called the roster screen because it is a roster of your residents. And I'm moving the arrow, up and down arrow key to move the highlight bar up and down the roster, and you'll notice that the resident's picture changes as you highlight them. Some features about getting around in the system. If you look at the very top of your screen, there's a title bar that says that you're on nursing unit number 2, and that's called station number 2, and you're in XYZ nursing home. And if you read further down, you see the active system website, www.ahpg.net, which is there for your reference, so you can access it for other help and other download features. Now if you hit your tab button, you'll notice that it goes to nursing unit number 3, which is called the hold unit. If you hit your tab key again, you get nursing unit number 1, which is station 1, and hit tab unit again, and you're back to nurses station number 2, or nursing unit number 2, which is station 2. So by hitting your tab key, you circle through all the nurses stations, and it circles back on itself, and it will keep doing that as you hit your tab key. Notice you can also hit your click the tab equals next key, which is at the bottom of most of the command button listings on the system, and that also cycles through the different nursing units. Okay, once you are on the particular unit, you can use it as a search window. For instance, if you want to find a resident named Truman, you would just start typing TRU, and the system jumps to the nearest match. As you can see, it's matched Truman, Harry Truman, as the resident. What you're searching for is listed at the top of the screen, SRCH : anything after that is what you've typed in, and that's what the system is currently searching for. We're going to hit escape to restart the search, and now you'll see the nursing unit number and the name are listed there once again. But let's type in tube, T-U-B-E. That matches tube feeding, and we have the resident that's on a tube feeding highlighted. Now hit your equal sign. It says at the top equal to repeat, so the equal key is on the second row of your keys to the right. Hit your equal key and it jumps to the next tube feedings. And if you hit your tab key, you'll see that the search is continued on the next unit. So this is a very useful feature that will allow you to match and search for residents, search for certain diets, search for room numbers or resident numbers. Very useful to get around in the system and immediately find things that you need. Now we are going to go back up to the top, and below the title line are a list of residents, or a list of menus that you can click to get various options and programs. All of the features of the active system are listed somewhere in these menus across the top. Okay, below these menus are discipline tabs that you can click, and below each discipline tab are a list of buttons that you can click to access programs that are related to that discipline. The most common one you'll be using is the Diet tab. When you click it, the buttons below are the buttons that the dietary manager will be using most of the time. They are divided into sections. The tray card / menu section lists all the tray card programs and the label programs. The assessment / MDS section lists all the RAI process programs that the dietary manager would need, and the cost / inventory section lists all of the cost control programs. Now we are going to begin setting up the system according to your facility. But first, notice that the roster does not take up the entire screen, and this is because the active system is installed under medium resolution rather than high resolution. Most monitors today support the higher resolution. So let's go to the setup program to change the resolution of your computer, of the active system. Now we're going to click Facilities. We're going to go down to Set Up Rosters, and you get a box that reminds you to change the name of your facility. If it's still named XYZ Nursing Home, just click OK. We'll change that later. And we're interested now in this screen size box up at the top center of your screen that has a 2 in the box to the side of it. That is the medium resolution. We're going to change that to a 3 to make it a high resolution. And now we're going to click exit, and you're dropped out of the system. Let's go back into the active system, and you'll notice now that the screen is much larger. It holds much more information, and you also have another section up at the top called the Education section, which holds in-services. If you click that, you can see in-services. So we have a whole variety of in-services that you can access to train your staff, and each in-service has a quiz that goes along with it. Now you click exit, you have policies and procedures. Now if you don't have the higher resolution, these options are also available under facilities as policies and procedures. It goes to the same program, and also staff and office gives you in-services, which is what we saw previously. You also have a user manual that you can access from the educational section, and that is a comprehensive user manual that has many chapters. You click up here next to chapters, and you see that you can access many different chapters depending on what area of the active system you want to learn about. To use this program, you click the chapter, and then you go down to the white box below, and you read, and as you read, you scroll down using your arrow, down arrow key, and as the text refers to different figures, the figures will be shown in the screen at the top, and you see how it changes whenever you get close to the text that refers to that figure. So it's a very useful manual that is illustrated, and the illustration changes as you read through the text. Now we're going to click exit, and we're going to go back to the roster, and now it's time to go into the setup program again to set up your rosters. The demo data that is listed here, we're going to go to nursing unit number 1. The demo data that's listed here needs to be erased, and your information needs to be put in. So we're going to click facilities. We're going to go down to set up rosters and click that. Again, you're asked with a reminder, and you click OK. And we're now interested in this purple set up rosters button. You click that, and you get the Setup Rosters program, which shows the roster that you are currently on down in the box below all of the command buttons. The idea here is to erase all of this information and then begin inputting your room numbers here. So we'll do that by clicking the Reset button, which is the red button that the mouse cursor is currently on. You click that button, and it asks you to confirm that you want to erase the roster, and you click yes, and now the roster is erased with only vertical lines. Next, you click the very top of that roster, because that's where you want to start putting in your room numbers. Now you could just start typing in room numbers, but that would take some time. The best way to do it is to put it in by pattern. And you only put your room numbers in here. You do not put your resident names in or the diets in. That is done through the admission process from the roster screen. So now we're going to put in the room numbers, and we're going to do that with this purple button that says Put Room No, or Put Room Numbers. But before we click that, we need to put in the pattern we're going to use. We put the mouse cursor over the first box to the right, and that's a small yellow box. And that the information line that comes up after you put the cursor on top of it says that that's the unit designator. That is usually blank, but some facilities have situations where they have North Wing, and they label their rooms N1, N2, N3, etc. And in that case, you would put an N in this box, and that would be your unit designator. But most of the time, it's left blank. Now we go to the second box, and that's where you put in your beginning room number, and we're going to put in 101. Your beginning room number, first room number on your nursing unit may be 100, or maybe 102, or whatever the first room number is, that's what you put in. And then the pink box is usually left blank, but you can put a dash there, or an underscore, or anything that you would want to put between your room number and your bed number, your bed designator. The bed designator is the fourth box, and that is usually AB or DW, where you designate your beds as A bed and B bed, or door bed and window bed. In this case, we're going to use AB, and you don't put any space between the A and B, just plain AB. And now we're ready to input our rooms. So we click Put Room Number, we confirm by clicking Yes, and your rooms are instantly in place. Now don't worry if you need to admit or insert a room or take a room out because it doesn't quite match what your rooms are. We can do that easily from the roster. But for now, we're going to go up to Facility Name, and the slot to the right is where you type in your facility name. It currently reads XYZ Nursing Home. We're going to type in Best Nursing Home. And then use our space bar to space through whatever is else on the line. Now you go over to the slot next to Unit, and you see Station 1 is in that slot, and we're going to call this the 100 Hall. And space through anything else that's left there. But you can name it whatever your facility has named their nursing units. Also here is Max Unit. And that's where you would increase the number of units if you want more nursing units. It's currently 3. You can make it 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever you choose to use. Now the unit number here is indicated here, and we're finished with Unit 1. Now you could go to Unit 2 and do the same thing with Unit 2. But we're going to go back to Unit 1. We're just clicking the up and down arrow key next to the unit box to get to the different units. But once you're done, then you click Exit, and you're back to the resolution setup screen. We click Exit again, and you're dropped out of the system. Now we're going to go back into the system by clicking the icon, and you'll see that your roster is blank and your room numbers are in place according to the pattern that you put in. So how do you go about deleting a room? Say 104 is a private room, so you want to delete 104B. You highlight the room, and then you hold down your Control key and tap your Delete key. And you confirm it by answering yes, and that deletes the room in your system. And now you can go up to 104A and click F3-admit, go down to change room number and click change room number and type in 104P to make that a private room. And that's how you delete a room. What if you needed to insert a room? Say 105 has 3 beds in it, and you want to add 105C. You go to the room below where you want to insert, you hold down your Control key and tap your Insert key, and then confirm by clicking Yes, and a blank line is inserted. Now you can go up to F3-admit and click that and go to the second option on that menu, which is change room number, and type in 105C and click OK, and you have now added a room between 105B and 106A. So you can go through all your rooms and insert and delete as needed to make it match exactly what you want on your nurse's station. Now it's time to begin admitting residents, and you do that by going to the room that you want to admit a resident to and tapping your Enter key. That gives you the admission screen. You can also access that through the F3-admit menu at the top, or you can double-click the line to get here also. Now let's go ahead and accept this temporary number that the active system has assigned. You can put in the medical record number here. It is advisable to change the temporary number to the medical record number at some time, but you can keep it the temporary number permanently if you want. Click OK, and you have the admission screen. The purple Input Resno button is the button you would click to change the temporary number to the medical record number sometime in the future. But for now, the cursor is on the last name field at the top of the screen, and that's where you enter the last name of the resident. Then you hit your Tab key and enter the first name. And now the only other thing you need to do is enter the diet, and the resident is admitted. We'll show you how to do that. All you have to do is click any of these blue buttons that apply, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4 component boxes that you can type in or select blue keys or buttons for different diet components, and this active system combines all 4 of those boxes to form the diet order. So you can click any of the blue buttons that apply. You can also click the boxes and type in things, whatever you want, whatever you need to get it to match the doctor's order. If you need more diets, you can click the right arrow key here to get to more diets, and you can click the left arrow key to come back. Okay? Or you can simply type in the name of the diet. Anything that you need to do to make it easy and whatever's quickest for you. Okay, now you could click exit and the person would be admitted, but before we do that, let's look at some other things you could add. If you know the likes and dislikes for the residents, you have a list of likes and dislike checkboxes. The likes are in green, the dislikes are in pink. If you have a color printer, the likes will print out in green and the dislikes will print out in red. And you simply click whatever applies. Notice that if you click honey thick liquids, that becomes part of the diet order. If you unclick it, it takes it off. Other things you click will also become part of the diet order, such as fortified foods. If you click that, it comes back off. Other things you click, they are simply printed on the tray card. And you can see that they're checked here, but that's the only indication you'll see from the admission screen. You can also right click these items and it gives you a box where you can change what the actual checkbox prints on the tray card. And the same thing applies for your dislikes. And that's the quickest and easiest way to put in likes and dislikes, but you also have free text that you can put in. Over here in the yellow box is a box for breakfast at the top, lunch in the middle, and supper at the bottom. And you're free to type in you have up to 6 lines of free text typing that you can put on the tray card also for each meal. And then you also have some drop-down boxes. If you select anything in this green drop-down box, there are a listing of likes, and it becomes the active item, which is the slot below the yellow box. You now see orange juice in there. Once something is in this box down here, it becomes active, and anywhere you click, that item is printed out. So that's how you can save some typing there also. And this is also a search button, so you can click it and start typing whatever you're interested in. And I typed AP and apple juice came up. Now apple juice is active, and you can click it and it will show up. Now once something's in here, you can deactivate it by clicking a blank gray, light gray area, and that erases everything in the active slot there. And now you can go back to free text typing whatever you want in the boxes. In the same way, over in the orange box to the right, you have your nourishments. You have 10 a.m. nourishment box, the 2 p.m., the 3 p.m., and the HS nourishment box. And these you can type in whatever you want. Whatever you type in, that's what shows up on the nourishment label. And you also have a listing of standard nourishments that you can select from. Once you select them from the list, they become active down here in the active slot, which means anywhere you click here, they'll show up. And to get it unactive or deactivate it, you click a blank light gray area on the form, and now you can go back to free text typing. So that's how you enter your likes and dislikes. You also have some standard buttons below your exit button that you can click to add to your diet order. Whatever you click is put on the diet order. You can take it off by clicking it again. And these are just all options to help you save typing also. The last thing to know about on this screen is the dining location list. If you click that, that is the dining location list that the system will use to print your tray cards by. The order of which they will print are listed in the first column. the abbreviation for the dining location that you use to assign the location, the residence to the location, they're listed in the middle column, which is a small column, and the large column to the right is what actually prints on the tray card. And you can insert and delete locations by hitting Control Insert for insert and Control Delete for delete to insert and delete dining locations to get it in the exact order that you want. And this is for the entire facility, this listing. If you click Exit and you go back to your admission screen, you assign residents to dining locations by typing in these three small boxes. If I type DR for dining room, which was the second location in the list, now I'm going to hit F1 to duplicate that to lunch and supper. Now the resident is assigned to the dining room for all three meals. If you want to assign them for their room for lunch, you would type RM, and that assigns room for breakfast, and then dining room for lunch and supper. And you can set up the dining location list any way that you want. You can make a table numbers for a dining location. So lunch could be T1 if you wanted them table 1 in the dining room. However you want to set it up, you just simply click the dining location list and make the changes and the abbreviations, and whatever you want to print on the card you put in the large wide column to the right. Set that up according to your dining locations, and then assign your residents in these three small boxes. And once you're done admitting the resident, you have a green print card that you can click and print a tray card for the resident immediately. Now let's exit the admission screen, and you'll see that the resident you put in is on your roster. And that's how you would put in all your residents. Just go down the line, putting them in the same way. Once they're all in, then you need to know about transferring, discharging, and restoring. To transfer a resident, you highlight the resident, and then you can click Transfer at the top, or you can press Alt-T for transfer. So you click Transfer, then click the first option, which is Transfer a Resident, and you type in the room number you want to transfer them to, 112B, and you hit Enter. Notice that you don't have to make sure that the B is capitalized. It will match lower and uppercase. Okay, now we have the resident transferred to 112B. Let's transfer them using Alt-T this time. Hold down your Alt key and tap your T for transfer, and let's put in H4 to transfer them to the hold unit. And now they're on the hold unit. They disappeared from this unit. Let's hit our tab key to go to unit 2 and tab again to unit 3, and we go up, and there is the resident in H4. And this would be a good place to put them while you're filling out their discharge summary and doing their final MDS and any other paperwork that you would need after they're discharged. Once you know you're not going to need them anymore, you would discharge them from the system by highlighting them and then going up to discharge, or you could press Alt-D for discharge. When you click discharge, and the first option is what you want, you just click that first option there, discharge highlighted resident, and the discharge program comes up. You click the blue DC button, and they are discharged from the facility. All their information is zipped up into a bundle, zip file, and put into the reserve folder. Now, say 2 months later they come back, you hit your tab key and you go to, room 106, and you want to restore them from the reserve file to 106. You highlight the empty room, and you click Restore, and you click Restore from Reserve File, or you can press Alt-R, either way you want to do that. And you'll notice that the resident is already highlighted, but usually they won't be. They'll be further down the list, so you would need to type the first 3 or 4 letters of their last name and hit Enter, and keep hitting Enter until the right resident is highlighted. Once they're highlighted, you click your Restore button, and they're restored to the system. Now, if you're putting in the medical record number, then if they are in the reserve file and you admit a person and they are a readmit and they would still have the same resident number as they had on the previous admission, whenever you input that resident number into the system, it will automatically pull that resident from the reserve file. So that's another good reason to store all their information under the medical record number. But again, you don't have to necessarily have that to admit a resident to the system. So that's basically it. That's how you admit residents. That's how you put in your room numbers. That's how you transfer residents. That's how you restore, discharge and restore. That's basically everything you need to run and maintain the active system. So please give us a call if you're having any difficulties. We'll be glad to walk you through anything. I think you'll find that you will get immediate benefit from the active system, and it will quickly become your right-hand person and handle all of your information processing and make your life much more manageable and allow you to get more work done in less time and provide better service to your residents and their families. So thank you very much for your time and interest, and I'll be looking forward to hearing from you.